I built this Lunar Outpost base on Genesis Part 1 in the Lunar Biome in ARK Survival Ascended, using the EGM SciFi Cosmetics, which is a really nice freemium cosmetics that offers some great structure skins, which is the premium part. But even if you don't want to purchase it, it offers some really nice decor items and utilities that are totally free, so definitely worth considering, especially if you're going for the outer space vibes. This little outpost base will offer you some footing in the lunar biome, some safety, whether you want to log out there, you want to just be able to craft and store some things, or just a nice and safe spot to teleport to. This one will definitely suffice. Hello there, survivors, and welcome back to another build tutorial here on my channel. In today's video, we'll take a quick look at the base, a little tour of the entire place and all of its little details with these cool cosmetic skins, and afterwards I'll show you exactly how to build this one for yourself if you're looking for a nice lunar outpost base, or you just want to really build a space-themed build. As always, if you enjoy seeing these types of videos and you want to continue to see more, make sure to like the video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and of course feel free to leave your suggestions for future builds down in the comments below. So here we are in the lunar biome on Genesis Part 1, and you can see it's a nice sized little outpost if you just want to have a safe spot maybe to teleport to or log in and out on, if you want to, spend some time here in the lunar biome itself. Definitely let me know if you would like to see me expand this idea, because I think it would be fun to maybe make it into a little space base, maybe see if we can make some kind of extra platforms, maybe some spots where you could do some breeding with your space wheels, park your hover skiff, stuff like that, because it is quite a cool theme and it does fit this biome quite well. At least for me, I haven't really had any issues with the meteors landing on top of my structures, but never say never. I know it can happen. Maybe a force field helps. I don't actually know if that works, but it seems to be doing pretty fine on its own for now, at least. And if you're wondering about which cosmetics I've used for this build, they are the EGM SciFi Cosmetics. Actually some really cool cosmetics with a bunch of variants and options to utilize, bunch of animated pieces as well with these little satellite dishes that will randomly move around. We've got more antennas on top of there, we've got the vents rotating, and a bunch of other things that really add a lot of character to the build. And it's actually a freemium cosmetic, meaning that it's free to install, but some of the skins are premium. I think most of the structure skins, or all of the structure skins, are the premium ones, but you get actually all of the decor, I think, and the utilities for free, and they're actually really good. This, for example, is the fabricator skin, which is kind of like a 3D printer, which has some really cool animations to look at. There's a bunch of variations for your vaults to make it look like different stacked materials. We have the air conditioning. We got some decor here as well with your chairs and everything. The bunk beds. We got the fridge and a normal looking vault. Water tank. We got the smithy here and the feeding trough. But yeah, there's some really cool things here, especially since there's a lot of like little animations that they have. Like we have the smithy that sometimes will also start printing things randomly. The fabricator always is printing things randomly, and it's got like a few different options that it will cycle through, which is definitely a really nice addition. So even if you don't want to purchase the cosmetic or the structure skins, the decor and the utilities that you get are definitely still a really good one to consider, because it's some awesome looking things. But a whole structure set in general is a very nice one. You can see we've got some lovely windows here to check out our surroundings. We have this nice satellite dish kind of like scanning the area, and it actually should be showing the exact location where we are located. I'm not sure if it works very well on Genesis. It might be confused with the double layers of the ocean above us, but yeah, it's a really nice skin. As you can see, there's a ton of variations for all of the wall skins, etc. We got a lovely nice skylight here as well, And there's some nice detailed structures. The animations for the tech doors are incredible and a perfect fit for a nice little lunar outpost base. That's kind of what I've used. You can see it's a pretty simple design. We got these bits on the side which are painted in a red color. I'm not exactly sure which one I used. Got some nice fences on top of it. The satellite dishes, of course, add a lot of character to the build by having those kind of move around on the top. Then all of the vents also are really nice, and then the windows, of course, letting in a little bit of light and a nice look through the base itself. But yeah, it's a nice one. It's not too big, this base, but again, it's more seen as an outpost because, I mean, I'm not sure if you want to live full-time in the lunar biome, but it's definitely nice to have an outpost here so that you have a safe place to arrive in before you go out and explore the rest of the world. So yeah, with that being behind us, taking a closer look at the build, let's actually jump into the build tutorial so that I can show you how to build this one for yourself. Okay, so first of all, we start out with the foundations, of course, and we want to make a line of 6 of them just like this. Then we can go one in from the front, and we'll have 7 of them going across to the other side before we can add in another one of those lines of 6 here. And then once again, also on this side, we want to go in by 1 and go all the way across, connecting up these 2, and then we can actually fill in the entirety of the floor to get our foundations down. Then all we need to do at the front is make a little entrance. Now you can either do this with ceilings or add some foundations, but you just want to have 1 foundation in the middle and then 2 quarters on each side to kind of expand this. But again, if your landscape doesn't allow it, you can also do this with ceilings without any problems. It's just to make the entrance stand out a little bit more. So yeah, this is the entire foundation that we need. A rather simple one, just the entrance may be slightly more complicated, but even that, very simple, not a very big footprint. Again, it's just a simple outpost. Okay, we'll start with the sides. We want to flip this roof around and add one here at the very end. Then we can do the same on the back, same on the other side, just to get this shape started. Then we can take out our walls, place 2 walls on top of this, and we'll do that for all of these roofs we've just placed down. Then we can take out the roofs again and make sure that we have them coming back in just like this to kind of shape it all out. And then we can take out our ceilings to connect up the 2 roofs we have. So from one side to the other, to basically get the right shapes in place. Then we want to take out our walls here at the bottom. Want to go all the way across. We can do the same thing here on the inside, just making sure that we fill that all in. Then we can take out our slope walls here at the very end, get them in right there, and also on these last walls. So we'll do the exact same thing here, just to kind of give this a little bit more shape. Then we can bring up the walls by 2. We'll do the same thing here on the other side. And then once again, bringing out our slope walls like that. Having them here on the inside again. Same on the front. And then finally, of course, we can fill in along the top too with all walls going all the way across from one side to the other. Kind of shaping up the sides of this area. So we want to do the same thing over here, basically just going across with the walls from one side to another, just like this, bringing out our slope walls and following the same shape that we did on the other side. There we go. And then of course raising up these walls along the sides again and repeating the process with our slope walls to slowly follow the entire shape around, finally going across with the walls on the top layer and the same over here on that side. Then we want to take out all quarter ceilings. We actually want to have 2 of them going across right here. And we can do the exact same thing on the opposite side over there. Just like that, nothing too crazy. And if you want to, you can already skin these ones. You don't really need to because, well, you won't really see them eventually. It's just for the snap point that we need them. We can then take out all walls. We want to snap a wall right here and then basically make a 2-high wall going from one side to the other right there in the middle so that we basically have a little bit of depth going on. And we want to do the exact same thing over here, raising up these walls all the way across to create a lot of depth for the sides of the building. Then we can actually take out our normal ceilings, and here along the bottom we can just kind of go across these middle four, fill them in, and we can do the same thing here along the top to again fill in the whole shape like that. We can also do that right here, so 4 of them along the bottom and then 4 of them here along the top edge too. Then it's time to take out our roofs again, but we want to go to the quarter roof so that we can have 2 of them over here as well as 2 of them over there. Make sure to all flip them the same way. And of course that also means we can fill in this side. This way you don't have to overlap anything and you should be able to pull this off on official as well. So there we go. We do the same over there and then once again the same over here to really make sure that this is all neatly aligned with each other. And of course we can repeat the process for the side over on the other side of the building. And yeah, we just want to keep filling in these edges all along. There we go. So then we have the basic structure of the 2 side walls complete, and before we go too much further, we'll actually start skinning a bunch of the base. First of all, we can easily start skinning the floor. Now you can just use the normal one, but I actually like the second variant as well because it has no kind of like borders between the things. And the good thing about these cosmetics, you can actually already cycle through the variants before you place them. So this will save you a lot of time when actually having to skin your base compared to the way most other cosmetics work, which is definitely a very big advantage of building with this one. Same over here for these smaller ones. Use the same variant, and then all along the bottom here of the sides, we also want to make sure that we skin those. Definitely do not forget about these because we already kind of built over them, but we definitely want to make sure they're looking the same way. Then for the side wall, it's relatively easy. We just kind of want to skin this entire building so that we can completely transform this look. And then we can do the same for all of these structures except for the walls in the middle. So we just want to kind of go around it. That already creates a whole new look. We can also start skinning the rest of this. So the inside wall will do the exact same thing. Just skin this all with those industrial skins. Go across the edges here just like that. And then also, of course, we can follow the entire shape of this build from one side to the next. There we go. And then of course here on the other side we can do exactly the same thing, making sure we skin it all to get the right look for these. There we are. And of course the side of the building will do the exact same thing. And again, I definitely do recommend painting these. It doesn't have to be red color. Of course you can kind of pick whatever the highlight you want. They do paint quite well, these structures. I went for a little bit of a muted red just because I think that looks a little bit nicer, but again, it's totally up to your preference what color you like and what you want to go for. But it does help set the rest of the base apart, so I would definitely recommend skinning these and then painting the sides that we've created so far. And in here we want to build the windows, but not just the normal ones. We want to go through the variants until we hit the last one, And we want to apply that to all of these. Just like this. It's not completely done yet. Then we want to make sure that we rotate them 180. So that it's actually a big window with a nice border at the top and at the bottom. But it actually gives you some pretty good and clear views of your surroundings. So they're definitely very nice windows to use. And we can do this all across the other side of the building too, of course. And again, we can switch these 180 degrees to get that nice big window, because you still want to enjoy this awesome landscape. If you've taken all the effort of building something out in the lunar biome, I think this is the least you can do. But again, definitely would recommend painting these sides. And if you want to know which color I've used this color for all of the structures. But as I said, you could definitely switch it out. I would go for a little bit more of a muted color because that looks a lot nicer. But it's up to you what color you prefer, of course, because you don't have to go for the red one. You can easily go for some different colors instead. Then here along the back, we want to start building the rest of the structure. So we'll take out our ramps and go all the way across the back just like this. Afterwards, we'll take out our walls and we'll raise them up to be too high. There we go. Taking out our water walls and have a layer going all the way across on top of these walls we've placed down. And then once again taking out our ramps to basically go back into the building itself. And this creates like a nice little curved back wall for the building and some depth, because these ones are sticking out a bit further than this part of the structure. Then if we take out our skins, we of course want to add some details. So the third variant is actually the one that we want to use on these ramps. I think that gives them some nice texture, so we can do that all the way across from one side to the other. And here on the inside, the middle wall, I like to skin with the radar because it provides with a nice skin. And yeah, as you can see, I do think it's using the ocean biome above, because normally it shows you the exact location on the map that you've built. I guess it's still doing that, but it's just showing the ocean, which, if you don't know, the ocean is actually right above the other biomes. As for the rest of this wall, first of all, we want to take out our turbines here, and we want to place them on the corners just to get a little bit of extra movement going in here, which always looks quite nice. Then underneath them, we can use the second variant here just to give it a little bit of a nicer look. Then here in the middle three, we can give the fourth variant for some nice textures on them. And then here along the sides, we want to use the seventh one for some kind of like cables going up. And then here next to these ones, we just want to use the normal ones. Right here in the corner, we want to use the second variant just to give it a little bit more texture. We want to use the first variant right next to it, and then the third variant going all the way across the very top here to give this wall a little bit of texture and a little bit of interest, just with changing the different variants on the skin that we're using. Then here along the front entrance, we want to have three walls going up here, and on the other side, of course, we want to do the exact same thing. And on top of this, we can actually have our shallow sloped walls just to bring in a little bit of shape. We want to, of course, skin the tops for these walls. We're also going to apply some texture to them to make them look a little bit more interesting, just like this. And then we can actually take out our ramps again. We can flip them around, add two of them over here and another two right over there. Then we want to use our water ramps here so that we can actually fill in the remaining gap. We can do that for both sides. And there we go. That's starting off these side bits. We can, of course, use these textures for the ramp again, which is what we used on the other side too. And for these small ones, we just want to use the first variant because it's just kind of filling in the last remaining gap. Then from the side, we want to start with 2-quarter walls. We can do the same thing on the other side, of course, and then have some normal walls right next to it. We want to skin these quarter walls just like this for both sides, and then actually turn these into some nice windows that we can look out over the surrounding areas. Then we want to have 2 walls over here, so we're kind of shifting where they are placed. And we want to take out all quarter walls and go around the edges here to fill in the remaining gaps. So we just want to follow along like that. For these ones, we can also use the turbines so that we get some nice texture in there. Then in these corners, we want to use the second variant and then the third variant for the remaining quarter walls we have here along the front. There we go. And then for these, we want to use the 7th variant just to give it a little bit of extra texture. And that really already forms the front wall. We can then bring our ramps back up to the same shape we have on the back of the building. And of course, we want to use those water pieces here again. And then we can kind of just skin these through so it all fits together. Then we can actually build the entrance. So right over here, we want to use some quarter walls. We want to use a double door. And then above that, we just want to fill in 2 walls like this. We can, of course, skin this all again. We want to actually use this variant over here. We can just use the normal ones right next to it on the doors. And of course, we don't want to forget about adding here a door itself. And if we skin this, we get that amazing animation for the tech door, which is actually a really cool addition. Taking out our ramps, we can add 2 of them here in front, but also 2 going back into the building itself, just to give it a little bit more depth. And then over here at the front, of course, we can add 2 stairs so that you can actually reach the entrance itself. For these one, we actually want to change the textures to the 4th variant, just to get a little bit of a different texture in there. And we want to start out with some thin pillars here underneath those ramps. And then, of course, we can get the actual thin pillars underneath that. This way, it should be the same kind of height as the foundations, which is only really important if you might want to make a template out of it. But yeah, we can skin all those as well so that we get a nice looking entrance here. And then, of course, all that's really left is to complete the roof of the building. First of all, we want to place down 2 walls here to complete the front of the build. And we can also use the second variant on those to get some nice textures above the entrance. Then we want to take out our ceilings, and we only want to basically go across the front here from one side to another. And we want to do the same thing here along the back of the building. Then we want to bring out our quarter ceilings. We want to go across like this, bring it back to the sides, and basically loop around like this. We want to do the exact same shape on the other side of the building. This is also that we can line out a ceiling perfectly in the middle of this. There we go. For both of them. And then, of course, the middle part we can just fill in completely. The middle here is what will turn into a nice big window so that we have that skylight going on. These ones we want to turn into the turbines so that we got a little bit of movement going on these 2. And then the rest of this, we really just want to skin like normal to get the roofs going. If you want to add a little bit of extra texture, you can, of course, change around with the variants, but really, you just want to make sure that at least everything is skinned to blend it all in with each other. And then with that, we've got the basic build done. But of course, you might want to add some details. You can either use deco boxes or artifact pedestals. And then, for example, place one over here and another one over there, just to add in some nice details. The satellite dish on one side, and then the other spinning radar on the other side, because it adds a lot of extra character to the place. And with some deco boxes, you can also easily add some antennas, which I can definitely recommend to go for the full space vibes. And then also for some final details along the sides, what we can do is have some railings going around the top bit just to make them stand out a tiny bit more. So yeah, we basically just want to have some railings all around the top of these side bits. And we can do the same thing over here just to add a little bit more to it all. There we go. And then with the skins, we just want to skin it to the first option here, all the way across for some really nice looks. And of course, that means we can do the same thing on the other side. There we go. And there we have it. That's basically all you need to do. And especially with these cosmetics, I think you can make something really cool. The little spinning dishes and all the little details of the furniture and the decor items are really nice to bring character to it. And then especially with all the added details, like the satellites, like the antennas, like every little bit, even the keypads you can skin if you want to add some more details to it. It's a really fun way to build yourselves a outpost in space. So yeah, that's kind of going to be it for today's tutorial. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and of course feel free to leave your suggestions for future builds you'd really like to see down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again in the next video or the next stream. For now, goodbye.